So we've been finding percents of numbers. This section is going to be section 1.10, solving percent problems. Solving percent problems. So this is section 1.10 or 1.10, solving percent problems. So we need to know what a proportion is. Proportions are ratios. Proportions are ratios in fraction form that are equal. That's it. So proportions are ratios in fraction form that are equal. For example, this is what it looks like. Percent over 100%. So we know that a percent is a percent over 100%, which is equal to part over whole, which equals 26 over 100. So for example, you have percent over 100%, which is equal to part over whole, which is equal to 26 over 100. So there are 3 steps to solve percent problems. Step 1 is write proportions with labels. Okay, write proportions with labels. Step 2 is cross multiply. This one's fun. I enjoy doing cross multiplication. And step 3 is divide to find x. That's it. So step 1 is write proportions with labels. Step 2 is cross multiply. This is fun. And step 3 is divide to find x. So let's see what an example looks like. So this is going to be EX1. I'm going to write EX1. And it says 20% of 80 is blank. So step 1 is write proportions with labels. Well, first let's label what we know we have. We have our percent, so just go and write per. Of 80 is going to be your whole, and this blank is going to be your part. All right? So just like what we saw right here, part to whole, we'll just write proportions. So we know we have 20% over 100. Okay, and that equals what you have as your whole, which is 80. So your whole goes on the bottom, and your part is up top. Now we don't know what our part is, so we just put x, and then cross multiply is step 2. So just go and circle your 20 and 80. We'll multiply then, circle your 100 and x. Okay, and then once you have those circled right there, you just multiply. Cross multiply. So we have right here 100 times x. 100 times x equals 20 times 80. Okay, we know 100 times x equals 100x. And 20 times 80, just work that out right here off to the side. On there, 0 times 0 is 0. 0 times 8 is 0. Placeholder, 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 8 is 16. So you add it together and you get 1600. Okay? So now we just have to divide to find x. Well, we have 100x equals 1600, and we must divide to get x by itself. So to divide to get x by itself, we divide by 100, and 1600 divided by 100. So now we have x equals 1600 over 100. Okay? Now, this is nice because we have 2 zeros up top, 2 zeros down below. So now we have x equals 16 over 1, or x equals 16. That's it. X equals 16. Let's try another one. I'm going to write EX2. And example 2 is blank percent of 175 is 35. Is 35. So step 1 is write proportions with labels. So we know this is our percent, so we'll just write per. We have of 175, that is your whole. And we have 35, that is going to be your part. Okay? So let's just write our proportions. Well, we know we have our percent, which is x over 100. We know all percents are out of 100. And that equals your whole over part. So we know our whole is 175 and our part is 35. So step 1 is finished. Step 2 is cross multiply. This is cool. So just go and draw your x and draw your x and you just multiply. So x times 175 is equal to 100 times 35. All right, so now we have 175x equals, and 100 times 35, just work it out. 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 1 is 5, placeholder. 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 0 is 0, and 3 times 1 is 3. So we have 3,500. So we have 3,500, okay? And then it just says divide to find x. So we have to get x by itself, so we divide by 175, and 3,500 divided by 175. So now we just solve. So just go and write out 3,500 divided by 175. Put your decimal. Don't forget that decimal. All right. And then how many times can 175 go into 3? Well, it can't. How many times does 175 go into 35? Can't either. How many times does 175 go into 350? Well, it's 2 times. 2 times. 175 times 2 is 350. Subtract, and 350 minus 350 is 0. Bring down that 0, and if we brought it down, bring it right back up to the top, and your answer is 20. That's it. That's it. Your answer is 20. Let's try another one. Let's try another one. Let's go ahead and turn that over. Go and write EX3. Go and write EX3. This one is example 3. So this one says 30% of 90 is blank. So step 1 is write percents as your proportion. Write your proportions with labels. All right, so just go and label it. So we know we have our percent, that's going to be our per. Of 90 is your whole. And your blank is going to be your part. All right, so just go and write your proportions. So you know our percent is 30% over 100 equals, and then you know that your whole is 90, and your part right here is x. Right there is x. Okay? And then step 2 just says cross multiply. So cross multiply, draw your x. Draw your x right there. And then you have 100 times x equals 30 times 90. I like drawing this x. This is fun. So you have 100x equals, and then just work out 90 times 30 off to the side. 0 times 0 is 0. 0 times 9 is 0. Placeholder. 3 times 0 is 0. And 3 times 9 is 27. So you have 2,700 equals 2,700. And then step 3 says, well, divide to find x. So how do you get x by itself? Well, divide by 100. And whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. Divide by 100. And so now you have x equals 2,700 over 100. Now, let's make division easy. You have 2 zeros up top, cross those off. 2 zeros on the bottom, cross those off. So now you have x equals 27 over 1, or x equals 27. That's it. That's it. Let's Let's go and try one more. We're going to write EX4. We're going to write EX4. All right, and this one is 20% of 80 is blank. All right, so step 1 says write your proportions with labels. So we have our percent here of 80 is your whole, and your blank is your part. Okay, and just go ahead and write your percent as your proportion. So we have 20% over 100 equals, we have our whole, which is we know is 80, but we don't know what our part is yet. So just put X right there. All right, and step 2 says cross multiply. So go ahead and draw your X's. Draw your X's on here, draw your X, and then just multiply. So you have 100 times X equals 20 times 80. All right, so now we just multiply 100. We have 100x equals, and then just work out 80 times 20 off to the side. 0 times 0, 0. 0 times 8, 0, placeholder. 2 times 0, 0. And 2 times 8 is 16. So you have 1600. All right, and then just says divide to find x. So how do you get x by itself? Divide by 100. And whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. So now you have x by itself. X equals 1600 over 100. Well, let's make division easy. You have 2 zeros up top, 2 zeros down below. So now you have x equals 16 over 1, or x equals 16. That's it. Go ahead and try examples 5 and 6 on your own. Example 5 says 74 is 50% of blank. And example 6, skip a few lines for your work. Example 6 says 5 is 10% of blank. Go ahead and try 5 and 6 on your own.